Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to share with you parts of one of my favorite lectures given by Neville Goddard, titled Live the Answer Now. The idea conveyed through this video is the power we hold in assuming and embodying the wish fulfilled. If I could feel myself in possession of what I want, can I then actually turn it into a reality? This is the basis of prayer. Many people might not know the true meaning of prayer, but it's essentially unity in body, mind and spirit. Once they all align through the power of imagination, we'll automatically grasp the power of living the answer to our prayers in this very moment. In other words, in the everlasting now. Let me now narrate parts from Neville's lecture and be sure to pay close attention. Open your heart and let it bring you to the blessing of fulfilled desires, realized dreams, and heaven on earth. Every fact is a dream made visible, so I invite you to live as though your dream were already a fact. I am convinced that every dream I have dared to live in the now has gradually and unnoticed blossomed into fact in my life. I also know, not only from personal experience but from eternal vision, that the spiritual states of the soul are eternal. That like a traveler, individual man passes through states, but the states remain forever. Without the help of any man or government, you could lose everything you possess and become dependent upon society. All you need to do is enter the state of poverty, or again, without asking for help, you could assume wealth by occupying the state. Remain faithful to it and you will discover that the state has its own way of externalizing itself. You must, however, give the desired state occupancy. How do you occupy a state? By asking yourself how you would feel, what you would see, hear, touch, taste and smell if your dream were real. Take time to set the stage. Being the star of your production, place yourself center stage, then allow a friend to enter and see you in your new state. Write the script, the words he would say when he sees you, feel his touch. Close yourself with the reality of the state you have just created in your imagination. You need not ask anyone's permission or help, but moving into the new state in your imagination, simply remain there until you feel its reality. Then let the feeling go its way toward fulfillment. We just mentioned something very important. Neville said, let the feeling go its way toward fulfillment. This is a tricky part at first. We live in a world dependent on physical action. People will praise or condemn you by what you achieve and do in the physical world. But yet, if we want to realize big dreams in life, we have to understand the importance of feeling and how it can help us achieve any given goal with way less effort and much more swiftly. One of the reasons why this is so is that we always act on what we are most emotionally involved with. In other words, you cannot act on something unless you have a deep connection to the idea inside your mind. In another lecture, Neville would describe it as catching the mood of fulfilled desire. We can think of doing stuff forever and ever. But if we don't feel emotionally tied to the dream, we will never be compelled to act on it. So what you want to grasp is that your physical actions are always determined by the mood in which you find yourself. From this we can conclude that if you can feel the wish fulfilled right this second, you will find yourself more and more compelled to act on your own dream in ways you may have never considered before applying this power consciously. This is so very important for you to grasp. It's not about what you do physically necessarily, it's all about your own state of mind and especially the moods that are running the show every single day in your own individual life. Are they the moods of fulfilled desire? Then yes, you will grow towards the realization of your dream. I have absolute proof of this, I'm doing it right now. I'm operating from a certain mood in order to make this video. If I didn't have the mood, if I was in a very depressed state of mind, I wouldn't feel motivated to do anything. But since I'm not in a depressed state of mind, I'm operating from the mood of my wish fulfilled, then I'm able to do the work that needs to be done to make my dream a reality, and it can be the same for you. Now let's get back to Neville's words. Blake understood this truth when he said, "From this I realized that neither the just nor the wicked are in a supreme state, but to be every one of them states of the sleep which the soul may fall into in its deadly dreams of good and evil, when it left paradise following the serpent. The serpent, the wisest of God's creations, is the personification of God's wisdom and power. It was he who told the woman, 'You will not surely die, but will become as the gods, knowing good and evil.' Entering a world of death, you will seem to die to those who cannot follow you, but not to yourself. Instead, you are restored to an unaccountably young body. You may leave an old body with missing hair and teeth to find yourself in a healthy, new body with your hair and teeth intact. This I know to be true, for my vision is open and I have seen those who have departed this life. I know they are not gone, but are restored to wear a new, young and healthy body. Now I can confirm this as well, but we'll get into that in a little bit. He also said, now a state may be entered either deliberately or unknowingly, but you are going to become what you contemplate. The world's wise men believe we are heading for the end, but its climax has already occurred. While on the cross, these words were spoken, "It is finished." This age has already ended, and an entirely new and different age into which we are all moving has begun. To Blake, space was a woman while everything in it was man, and man was God. Blake saw the world as a play of 6,000 years, with a door opening to Eden every 200 years. We think we are moving in one direction, yet everything is taking place now, and every 200 years an individual can enter the new age. Now, as I said, I can confirm that what Neville said about dying and finding yourself in a restored younger body. We all have evidence of this as well. The dreams at night hint at what is to come. Even though your dreams may make no sense on reflection after waking up in the physical world, it still shows us the immortal nature of consciousness and that it will simply shift focus once the body finally stops functioning altogether. This could provide great hope for anyone. The struggles we face in our physical lives are not permanent, even though when we are in the midst of them we might feel like they will be. This is for the most part due to our only focusing on the physical side of life and thinking that it's the only thing there is to our existence, but it's not. All this will be revealed to you when the time is right and when you seek for the truth of your own being. These revelations cannot be forced upon you by others. I can tell you that by exercising the technique of embodying the wish fulfilled right this moment, you will become increasingly more aware of the immortal spiritual self, since it's through that aspect of your being you're even able to apply this technique to begin with. Neville had the following to say: I urge you to dream nobly. Although your dream may seem impossible, invite it into your consciousness by feeling it is real. Wear this feeling as you would a suit of clothes, and persist until the feeling takes on the tones of reality. Do that, and in a way no one knows, your desire will appear as an eruption of your continuous thought. Your desire started in motion when you wore it. Its appearance is simply a hidden continuity which came to the surface. Dwell upon a thought and you will realize that it is not original, that the thought itself is complete and therefore every thought is divine plagiarism. Enter a mood and watch the thought that comes to you while there. If you want to be known, get into the mood by feeling recognized as you move about. Then as the feeling becomes familiar, you will be amazed how things will reshuffle themselves and you will get the publicity you desire. It may not be very flattering, but if you really want to be known, you will be. Whatever you desire, believe you have received it and you will. Knowing what you want, assume you have it and let no one divert you. Do your Father's will, believing in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Try it, for this simple principle will not fail you. But remember, you are its power, as it does not operate itself. I can tell you how to move into another state, but you must move into it yourself. No one can do it for you. You see, states are permanent, and it is up to you to get out of the state you are now in, if it is undesirable to you. Every time I apply what Neville's suggesting about entering a mood of fulfilled desire, I get so motivated and inspired. I can sense my whole consciousness shift for the better, and as I go along with it, things in my physical world keep improving also. It is once I lose connection with the mood I might stagnate and slow down the realization of my own dream. Have you ever noticed this in your own world? It can happen to the best of us. The important part is to get back on the track that leads us straight towards the realization of our wildest dreams. As Neville said, now buried in a state, you are a spectator of other states. But if you arise from your present state and bury yourself in another, you will express it. If you can be what you want to be, why not become it? Why sit in a state you dislike and argue, when you can move into another state in your imagination? But once you have moved into the state of your fulfilled desire, don't be like Lot's wife. Don't look back at your former state and preserve it, for salt is a preservative. Now this is a very good point Neville made about not looking back at our former state. This simply means we should avoid thinking back to how we used to be and live, for in that moment we are essentially assuming that role all over again. All sorts of horrifying things might occur if we do. I know this from personal experience as well. I am lucky, however, that I've realized it only seems to occur in my case if I use alcohol, for example. I find myself remembering and reliving all sorts of negative states that I do not want to be part of my life. As long as I avoid alcohol altogether, I do not have this issue. Now I'm sharing this with you because you might be involved in certain activities that are causing you to look back at the dead past. You might not even be aware that you are doing it, but if you have noticed certain activities affecting you in a bad way, we have to get away from them at once. Now let's get to the last part I wanted to share from Neville's lecture. Take the challenge of scripture. Whatever you desire, believe you have received it and you will. Dare to believe you have what reason and your senses deny. Persist in your assumption and it will harden into fact. Try it and see. Remember, the Father who became you is speaking to you through the medium of dream and revealing himself in vision, for this world is his play. Take the challenge of scripture and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not only for yourself, but for your family and friends. When you imagine for another, you are really giving it to yourself, as there is no other. The whole vast world is only yourself pushed out. Absolutely marvelous revelations he shared with us about the power of consciousness, a power you wield right this second. The only thing asked of us to do is to apply it consciously and willingly. We have to dare catch the mood of fulfilled desire, even though our reasoning mind denies we could ever achieve it. We want to go straight for the energetic nature of our desires, and the moods are the fastest way to connect to the invisible side of our own dream, so it can one day become a visible reality for all to see. Therefore, remember to live the answer of fulfilled desires now. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.